Hello, everybody. I'm Jeannie Blaylock here at First Coast News. What a scary day on the First Coast, but there's good news. The two little girls that a lot of people were looking for, the missing little girls ages 10 and 11, have been found and they are safe. But it's made a lot of parents go, oh my gosh, what about if that happened in my family? Would I do the right thing? And there are a lot of questions involved with this case. So we want to introduce Mark Botman, our crime and safety analyst. He has 35 years experience in federal and local law enforcement. Mark, thank you for being here today. And I think one big question right away we should address is, when do you call police? You tell me that some parents are embarrassed to call police right away.
Yeah, a lot of times they think maybe that the child, by the way, thank God that they're found and that they're safe. That's the big thing. Nothing happened to them while they were missing, and that's always a good ending to this story. Unfortunately, the parents sometimes think that maybe they're with the neighbors next door. A child's playing with them. They have a sleepover or whatever. They get confused. They don't know if they said they could stay there or not. And next thing you know, they think it's okay. And then they realize, hey, wait a minute, that's not okay. So time becomes a factor, and it's especially a factor with law enforcement. They want to hear it right away. There should be never a delay in reporting that your child's missing, ever.
So if you're worried,
wants you to report that.
Yeah, I mean, our parents worried they're going to get judged like that must be a really bad parent. They weren't watching their kids enough. Now, in this situation, we want to make it really clear. We are not judging anybody involved with this situation. But we do know from police that there was searching for these little girls around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They were reported missing to police at 3:40-ish a.m. That was this morning. So that's a 12-hour span. What could have been done by police during that 12 hours that was lost in this case?
Well, there could have been a total neighborhood canvass. There could have been interviews conducted. They could have been reviewing CCTV footage of other houses around the area. If need be, if there was a reason to put out an Amber Alert because there was some action that warrants an Amber Alert, it could have already been put out. In this case, that wasn't the case. Again, there's a time lapse there, a period of why it wasn't reported. The other reasons could be other than just the fact that they thought they were somewhere and they weren't. Maybe they're habitual runaways, and if they are, a lot of times the parents treat that, or guardian, whoever has sponsorship, whatever there is, guardianship over them, says, well, they've run away before, maybe they'll come back, or there could have been an argument, a fight, whatever. They run down the street and hide, those type of things. Those incidents happened. And they're more frequent than not, those things happen. And sometimes the child does return, or the children in this case return. But in this case, that wasn't the case. They were, obviously they were found somewhere else and brought back safely.
Now, we saw a minute ago a picture of a school, or not a school bus, but a JTA bus, and we're blurring out these young children's faces. But there they are getting on apparently a JTA bus, a city bus, not a school bus. And we don't know exactly what time this was, but what does that picture tell you?
That picture tells you that they were just freely traveling wherever they wanted to. And, again, their ages, they may not look their age. The bus driver may not pay much attention to them. A lot of children now that are maybe that age look a little bit older. They board the bus, and the bus driver doesn't pay much attention to them. Once these alerts go out, and once police are notified that someone's missing, in this case, two small adolescent children are missing in this case, I mean, every public venue is being made aware of it. Bus drivers are being made aware of it, train station, airport venues, things of that nature. Again, this did not warrant an Amber Alert. There was no action where it didn't look like there was an abduction or a child custody issue where somebody who was in a guardian or parent took them unlawfully, or they got into or observed getting into a strange vehicle, or picked up at a school where by somebody who wasn't on the list. Those would all warrant an Amber Alert.
And in those cases, Mark, we can't underline enough that you should call police like right away, and that would be 911?
911 or even the regular police non-emergency line, either one. It doesn't, they're going to answer no matter what. 911 is probably a safe bet, especially if you deem someone like an abduction, definitely. Or if it's something along those lines, what I just stated, that's a 911 call. If you think it's somebody who habitually runs away, and you may even have a rapport with missing persons already in detectives' names, you want to try and get in touch with them and start that ball rolling anyway. And the fact that they're so young, I mean, they're in peril no matter what. If they're even younger than that, and there's a retention pond near the house, or they're seen near an area where they could be drown or fallen into a hole or whatever it may be. The time delay, there's the safety factors that tie to that.
And let me point out, too, that one of the little girls, 11 years old, the family did report clothing, pink, blue shorts, black hoodie, and unknown logo on the front, unknown shoes. And then for the 10-year-old, black T-shirt with white logo on front, gray shorts, unknown shoes. So I know, I mean, as a mom myself, I remember when my twins would get ready and they were this age for school, it was like, all right, let's get the cereal. I mean, there's just going to be chaotic in the morning. Like maybe I didn't notice the color they had on that day, but is that something you should do every morning when your children leave, or how do you even handle that?
Yeah, do the best you can with your recollection. You have to remember what you put on them, or I would think it's good that you remember what they put on them. I too had twins. I didn't always get them prepared for school. I may not even see them. I may have already gone to work, but I may be the reporting nature element at that time, and my wife may not remember. All other than taking a picture of them every morning with your iPhone, I guess you could do that. But typically, I mean, you do the best you can. They're getting dressed and they're going out the door. They could change shirts at the last minute or will do whatever, and you may not even realize it, and they're out the door.
So, as I said, we are not trying to judge anybody because there are so many circumstances involved with this. I'm sure that we don't know, that police know behind the scenes. But when you look on Facebook, people are asking questions. And one of them on our Facebook page on First Coast News was 3 in the morning, 10 and 11. Glad they are found, but a whole bunch of questions need to be asked. And somebody said 3:40 in the morning to report it. I don't understand that. So whatever happened in this situation, what does that say to you that all these hours went by, some 12 hours before police could even start on this case?
Well, it just makes it harder on the police to go out and find them. I mean, there's a time factor built in. If in fact they were, hypothetically, let's say they were running away, now the distance they can travel is a lot greater because it hasn't been reported right away, or just the fact that like again, you don't have the wherewithal to determine how or where they walked to or how they left or whatever, because time has elapsed, so much time has elapsed. Now people may not have paid attention at that time when they left, but you're going to get out here and conduct canvass right away. You're going to use, you have a helicopter in the air. You may use canines or type dogs to track. I mean, all those things get delayed in the process when they're not reported right away.
And these days, we depend on these phones all the time. And I can just see now kids going, well, Mom, I tried to call you, but my battery died, or I wasn't in a good Wi-Fi zone, or whatever. I mean, should you ever depend on a call from a child? Or should you have already talked to the parent maybe who is having the house where they spend the night?
Yeah, you want to talk to the parent. Don't let the child tell you, hey, I told you earlier I was going to stay here, or remember Jimmy told you it was okay that I stay at the house with his mom and dad. No, I want to talk to Jimmy's mom and dad. I want to talk directly to an adult, find out where they're going to be. Are they going to be with you? Are they staying in the house? Are you going somewhere with them? These are the questions you need to ask the people that are going to take care of them there. I mean, they may be going to a skating rink or whatever. You want to know what they're doing, and you want to get that from the parent, not from, your child's friend who just came over and vouched for the fact that they're staying with them.
Well, when I grew up, and I guess still now, if I've heard one time, I've heard it 1,000 times, nothing good happens after midnight. So everybody is, of course, free to make their own curfews for their own families. But let's take this just a little bit further. Obviously, police didn't think that this was an abduction or a kidnapping, or there would have been an Amber Alert.
Right.
But in those cases, you've worked a lot with missing persons and so forth. How quickly do abductors work? I mean, I know there's a time frame where the clock starts ticking really quickly.
In a lot of cases they stalk people, so they may know the child's movements if it's a child custody issue. So they work real quickly. They plan it out. I mean, a lot of these, if it's a stranger abduction, they may have stalked the child for a while, or they may just look for a child of opportunity, and they're just driving around a neighborhood. I mean, these are the dangers associated to that type of activity, and they're predators, basically. If it's a child custody matter and the person that has taken them it's not supposed to have the child during that time period, or not supposed to have the child at all, then, again, the time delay in reporting that becomes a factor. And again, those are Amber Alert issues.
And people may wonder, let's just say that you live near a county line, and you don't know if your child's Duval County, or maybe they got in a car and went to St. John's or Nassau or something else. I mean, is it incumbent on you to call various police departments, or can you count on it if you call JSO that other police departments are going to get notified?
JSO is going to put them into a database system, and it's going to be accessible to all the surrounding agencies. A lot of times it'll go into a national database where if they were going anywhere in the United States, the description and name of the individual missing is going to be put in there. And it goes in the missing children's database as well.
Are there technology things you see parents using now where they know where their kids' phones are or their cars are? Do you recommend any of those sorts of things?
I recommend that for tracking, finding them and putting a tracking device on the phone, yes, and making sure that they don't, you tell them, say, look, this isn't for me to keep an eye on you, it's for your safety. If you own the car, you can put a tracker on that car. You can put whatever you want on that car. If it's your car and you have the right to do it and they're driving it. There's nothing keeping you from doing that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
So I've seen some parents look at their phones and go, oh, now my daughter's in such and such, or now my son's over at the pizza parlor. They know where they are. When that all first came out, kids were saying, well, that's none of my parents' business, but we're past that point, I hope.
We're way past that point, and you got to take in consideration the age of the person. If the child's like 16 or 17, hopefully they're a little more responsible. Nowadays, children at 8, 9, 10, whatever it may be, they have cell phones. Put it on it, track them. Their decision-making process isn't going to be as good, hopefully, as a 17 or you hope that they have a good decision-making process. But usually when they get in the later adolescent years, you're wanting them to be more responsible. That's why you're instilling certain things into them as they go forward.
Now, our Zach Wilcox is out on the scene. He's been there all day, and he talked with a family member of one of the girls, I believe the one who was 11. So starting tonight at 5:30, you'll hear Zach's live reports, 5:30, and 6 tonight. And Mark, you'll be on with me speaking more about this at 5:30. But as we wrap this up just now on streaming, if you just had to summarize like the two things that we should all learn from this today, it was scary, it was frantic, it turned okay for these two young girls, aged 10 and 11, but what are the two things we should take away?
Well, it's a misnomer that you have to wait a certain period of time to call the authorities. JSO doesn't have a policy that says you have to wait 2 hours or whatever. No, if your child's missing, you call right away. If you've done your due diligence, looked through the house, you don't know where they are, you've looked in the backyard, you looked in the front yard, and, there's other mitigating circumstances that may tie to it, but you call right away and report that because time is of the essence, especially if it's an Amber Alert situation. But even if it's not, even if it's just but even if it's a runaway situation, time is still of the essence. These are our children. They're precious to us. And the thing is, they may not make the best decisions. They're out here in a very, in our community, and you hope people are looking out for them, but there's people out here that aren't looking out for them as well. So time is of the essence, as well as, don't believe that there has to be a certain time period to report this.
And one last question here as we wrap up. If a parent has a child on the autism spectrum, or has some sort of physical or mental challenge, will that go into the Amber Alert category?
That meets the criteria for Amber Alerts, yes.
Okay. Mark, we appreciate all your expertise, and we hope everybody will stay safe, learn from this, and we're so glad the little girls are okay. Thank you, Mark.
I am too. Grateful.